I have gotten this one question so many times in the last week or so. I'm going to answer it a lot. So we'll get into that question. But before we get started, hello and welcome to Ask a Doctor, office hours, whatever we want to call it. I'm Dr. Meghan. I'm a board certified obesity medicine physician and weight loss coach, helping you cut through the pseudoscience and confusion in weight care. My approach combines evidence-based medicine with real behavioral change. So you don't just take medications, you actually transform your health. So let's get into it. As always, as a caveat, I can't answer personal medical questions because I'm not your personal doctor. So if your question does lean a little personal, I'm going to change it so it's more broadly educationally applicable. Also, as a side note, if you are scheduled for a consult or you're thinking about scheduling a consult with me, side note, I do work one-on-one as a weight loss coach to help people. I'll talk more about that at the end. But if you're scheduled for a consult with me or you're thinking about it, I'm booked out for about the next 2 months. And also I noticed that, we're getting into the summer season. People, like, things are coming up for people, and maybe I have a last minute reschedule because their flight changed or their kid was sick, or like every once in a while, these other schedule changes come up on my end in my clinic. And so I'm just going to start releasing these consult times that are closer, because I know there are a lot of you out there that you don't want to wait for 2 months. You want to talk to me soon. So yeah, instead of waiting for 2 months, you can talk to me tomorrow. So I'm just going to start adding consult slots as these come up. If you want to grab one of those, send an email to the email address I'm going to put below, info@weightmedicinemd.com, and just put in the subject line consult, and you'll get added to a list. And then as soon as those come up, I will send out an email. It's first come, first serve. Just grab it, and then I'll talk to you a lot sooner. We can get started a lot sooner. If you're already scheduled for a consult, don't mark it, highlight it, star it, but also you can be added to this list too, because you might be able to snag an earlier time. And I would love to talk to you. I really enjoy talking with all of you so much. And so this is just another opportunity to make things a little bit easier on your end and a little bit faster. So just send an email to that, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's just get started. Okay, so this is an addition to I got a lot of Wegovy pill questions last time, and so I said I would do a part 2 of that really excellent viewer question block, and so I'm going to do that now. This is about somebody who is switching from compounded tirzepatide to the new Wegovy pill as a maintenance dose. And they were asking, as you take the Wegovy pill each day, is it the same dose maintained in the body evenly, or is it building up 1.5 next day, now it's 3, that it's 4.5 each day, making it higher and higher? Or is it an even dosage daily throughout the time it's taken? I'm a little confused about that. Someone said that by the end of the week, you've really taken a very high dose because you're taking it every day of the week. That doesn't seem quite right to me. Can you spread your dose and take it every few days if the side effects are bad? Okay, so this is a great question, because we're all used to the injection kind of ebbs and flows in terms of how long things are lasting and what people are noticing. But the Wegovy pill, so oral semaglutide has a half-life of 7 days. So this is really nice in a daily pill form, because what it means is yes, the first couple days, the first day you take it, that's the least amount that's going to be in your system if you continue taking it. So you're going to take it for several days, and then you're going to reach a steady state of how it's referred to in the dynamics of medications. So after you've been on it for several days, it is going to build up, but then it's going to just be at kind of an even level. So it's not like phentermine. Phentermine is a half-life of 20 hours. So phentermine is much more fast on, fast off. It doesn't really build up as much. The Wegovy pill is different. So there is a bit of a ramp up, but then it's smooth. And so let's say you've been on it for a month and then you miss a day, it's not really going to impact things very much for you. Now, if you skip days or you miss a lot of them in a row, like that, of course, will. But once you reach that steady state, it's going to be pretty smooth in terms of you're not going to have like, you know how a lot of people on the injectables, sometimes they feel like they have a lot of variability in the week. So they have a really suppressed appetite day 1 and 2. And then the day before they inject, they feel like, oh my gosh, this hunger is crazy. It's so different. So you're much less likely to have that on the medication. So on the oral medication. Yes, you are right that the first dose is the least amount and it does build up a little, but then after several days, you get to that steady state, and then it should be pretty much level in terms of the amount of and again, you have to make sure you're taking it correctly, right? You have to make sure you're taking it at the same time, you're taking it correctly, you're doing all those things. Just take it with a few sips of water. You're taking it on an empty stomach, 30 minutes before food or any other medication. You have to be doing all that, but if everything's going correctly, you should have a very level dose in your system at all times, and you shouldn't have that, those swings during the week, which is really a nice change for a lot of people. Okay, next question. I'm on tirzepatide for 4 months, titrated gradually. Now on, I think it said 6.5, but I think it's 7.5. 1,250 calories a day with 130 grams of protein, working out 4 days a week, no weight loss and no side effects. What do I do now? Okay, can't answer personally, but I will tell you that it is really, so first of all, I don't have people count calories. I really just want them to listen to their body, those hunger cues, stop when they're full. I've never asked anybody to count calories. Thousands of patients, great results for people. It is not necessary. Again, talk with your prescribing physician, but some people really like to, and if they like to, I'm not going to stop them. But one thing that is important to think about is, are you calculating your protein correctly? And this goes for everybody. So I have patients that come to me and they say, gosh, I'm really having a hard time getting my protein in. And then we're talking, they're trying to get in like 175 grams of protein and they're like 5'2". Okay, so protein goals are different for everybody. And I've made a lot of videos about this, but the important thing to know is that your protein goal should be calculated based on your ideal body weight, not some random number that's like supposedly a great fit for everybody, and not your starting weight or the weight that you're at now. If you're not at your goal weight, you want to calculate your protein goals based on your ideal body weight. And so that's going to, and you want to, the formula is 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram ideal body weight daily. I've made a lot of videos about that. I'll link them below, or if you search protein on the channel, it'll come up. But that's the formula that you want to use that comes from the Obesity Medicine Association. And when you do that, most people find like, oh, that was a lot more protein than I needed. I also never want people to eat protein at the expense of their fullness. So if somebody's like, well, I was full, but I didn't eat my 20 grams of protein, like, just if your body's telling you like, we're done, you're done. You'll make the protein up over time, and maybe you are somebody who needs to add, a protein shake or something like that. Again, a longer conversation with your physician. But when people calculate based on their ideal body weight, according to that formula, they usually end up needing a lot less than they initially thought. So it's calculated in kilograms, your ideal body weight, and it's based on your ideal and not your present if you haven't gotten to where you want to be yet. So thank you so much for that question. Okay, next question. Will you be doing a video on the new Foundeo pill? I'm on maintenance and just stopped Zepbound 15 milligrams after losing 70 pounds this past year. Oh my gosh, congrats. My doctor wants me to try the Foundeo pill, which I started 8 days ago. I'm concerned about it for two reasons. One, it's very new. Second is my internist put me on Foundeo, but I saw my cardiologist and he says to stay on the Zepbound. So I'm wondering what to do. Okay, again, can't answer personal questions, but if I had a patient like this, things that I am thinking about, especially if I have a patient who has heart issues, they have a cardiologist, Zepbound has been around a lot longer, and we do have good data that shows how much it reduces cardiovascular risk factors, helps lower the risk of major cardiac events. And so we just have a lot more research on that than we do for orforglipron. So if I have a cardiologist who prefers Zepbound, that is never going to surprise me because we have great data about it. We likely will, just thinking about how these medications work and how much, in general, they help with, lower the risk of diabetes and blood pressure and cholesterol and all these other things. My inkling is that likely we will see over time that orforglipron is also very helpful at mitigating those cardiovascular risk factors. And we do actually have some data on that already, but we just do not have as much as we do for Zepbound. And so if I had a patient who, I could pick either and their heart risks are a significant concern, I'm going to go with Zepbound for now, probably. But if cost is the concern, really the medication to be considered, the medication to have these conversations about is the medication that the patient is actually going to take. So it doesn't really matter if Zepbound is going to be a better fit if they can't afford it, right? If it's not going to end up in their fridge, then it's a waste of time even thinking about it because it's just not going to happen. I can definitely see why a cardiologist would prefer Zepbound, all things being equal. Okay, this question came up so much. I think it's because there are a lot of new subscribers, and if you're new, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Please ask questions. These questions come from the community, and I'm so happy to answer them. This question came up so much. So my doctor's suggesting tirzepatide. I'm still debating, even though I am obese. Do you suggest your patients go off these medications after they lose weight? Okay, another one, how long until you can stop taking this? Another one, I would like to know the best way to stop taking Zepbound once the goal weight has been reached. And if you've been here a little while longer, you know what I'm going to say, which is that you don't go off these medications. These medications are intended, as of the time of this filming, they're intended to be taken long term. So I never have a plan to titrate somebody off, wean them off, do anything fancy. I'm just going to keep them at the dose that is maintaining them at their healthiest weight. And that's it. And you can just let it ride, let it be boring. But I am in no way ever wanting to titrate them off. Now, that being said, sometimes, and we might be entering this now that we have the oral pills available, we might be entering a new phase of what the kind of maintenance looks like. And maybe for some people, for financial reasons, that looks more like, hey, I got down 50 pounds on the Zepbound. I'm going to change over to the Wegovy pill because my insurance isn't covering it. The out-of-pocket costs are better. And this is a little bit more feasible for me so I can really stay on it. That can certainly be an alternative that might work for people, especially if the alternative is just not being able to take it, right? Or being limited to some of the older generic weight medications such as Ventromine, Topiramate, Contrave. Again, those medications are great, but they don't have necessarily the powerful effect the GLP-1 medications have. And so while I'm never planning on tapering somebody off of it, of course, this year and beyond, it is likely that I will be switching some patients to the oral pill just so they can stay on some type of medication to help maintain their weight. But all things being equal, if finances were not a consideration, then I'm never doing any of that. I'm just keeping, so if this is, of course, if they like it, if it's working for them, keeping them at the highest dose that will maintain their weight in a place where we both feel like is a healthy place for them. So thank you so much for all those questions. If you have questions, again, leave it on this video, leave it on another video. I will find it and add it to the list. Again, about the consults, if you have a very chaotic relationship with food, you want your medication to do the best it can do, but you're like, I'm very unstructured. I need to like get it together with regards to my food, and I don't know how to do that. We should definitely talk, because I do this all day, every day. There are so many things that go into maintaining a healthy weight that really have nothing to do with the weight medication, but can really help the weight medication do its best job. So if you want to hear more about that, schedule a consult. I'm going to be dropping in some consults as availability allows. So if you want to get on that email list, just send an email to that email address down below. You'll get on it, and then you will hear as soon as possible about any availability. First come, first serve. So be on the lookout. Thank you so much for watching, and please be well.